Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Fatmata here from Traditionally Inspired Meaningful Art, and today I wanted to come to you with a quick update while I still had a face on before I go to bed. Today is November 24th. It's the day after Thanksgiving here in the States, so if you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Yes, today is also known as Black Friday, and there are tons of deals and sales going on, I'm sure, everywhere. I spent this morning at G Street Fabrics with my best friend, which I had shared here on the channel. We were gonna go, and it was lovely to see a few comments that were asking for a meetup, and we were able to do it. Oh my goodness. So I called the fine folks over at G Street Fabrics, and they actually were so kind and helped to reserve a room for us. We did not actually end up using the room, so we convened right in my favorite place within G Street Fabrics, the dead stock section, and it was lovely. So I want to give a huge thank you to Tishana as well as Deanne, who both came out to hang out, and we had a lot of fun. My best friend was there as well, so we were just talking about the fabrics, and we had a blast. I know I did. So thank you so much for coming out. It was fabulous. And yeah, it just gets me super excited to hopefully do more and more. I think one of the things that came up, we're super jealous of our UK friends who just have meetups everywhere. And we're trying to brainstorm ideas of how to do an actual meetup where we could bring sewing machines and sew and do a proper meetup. That would be next level. But I can't thank them enough. You put these things out there in the world, and I met actual human sewing friends in real life. It was fabulous. I did not walk away empty-handed. So the main reason we were there were to look for bridal-esque fabrics for my best friend since she's getting married next year. I did see a fabric that was $445. It had ostrich feathers and the most gorgeous beading and sequins, and then I immediately just told myself that maybe another time I can look for that, because I was like, never mind. But yes, they have a ton of beautiful bridal fabrics, but I think we'll have to go and really take more time to look through the entire selection. So we just went to the dead stock section. I'm going to show you quickly the 4 fabrics that I have, and I will begin with this one. I know it doesn't look like much, but if you were to feel this, it feels like a washed silk. That's what it feels like. It feels like the types of washed silks that I've experienced before. I know that they often have a silk bin, but they didn't have one out this time. So this may just be some sort of rayon fabric, but when I felt it, I was like, I gotta have this. I really like getting these fabrics to line dresses. That's most likely what I see myself using this for. I think I have about 3 yards of it, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So that's what this is destined to be, some sort of lining. I doubt that I would use it on its own for a shirt, but it could also be that. I then got this cotton broderie anglaise fabric. Now this is one of the fabrics that they actually sold in the store, but I think they were saying for one reason or another, I think they can't reorder it or something. They ended up taking it off the bolt and putting it in their, dead stock room. And I was so happy about it. I think I picked up a similar fabric when I went with my mom last year. But when I saw it this time around in way more than a dress length quantity, I had to have it. It's about 44 inches wide, so not extremely wide. That can fit in the frame for the most part, so it's not extremely wide, but the from top to bottom broderie anglaise in this gorgeous blue color had to come home with me. This is about 7 yards here, so it's a lot, but again, because it's a narrower width, I felt like having more of it would be helpful for any sort of dress that I want for sure, but then I can make something for me and the kiddos in this. So I'm really, really excited to have it. Next up, I saw so many animal print silky fabrics and I was like tinkering with them. I put a bunch of them in the cart and then started to do my sort of edit later on, and I removed many of them, but this one, it clung on to me. So I clung on to it, okay? And it feels like a poly satin maybe, but it is so slinky and smooth, and I was almost so close to putting it back until Deanne was like, I think this is a lining. And I said, well, you know what, my friend? I could make use of a lining. I was trying to figure out, like, can I make a half circle skirt? I was just trying to, in my mind, make it work. And then when she mentioned a lining, I was like, well, you know what? I could use a lining. I have wools that I purchased last Black Friday at G Street Fabric that could do with some lining for a coat. So this is going to be some fun leopard. Is this leopard or cheetah lining? And I'm very, very excited about it. And the wool that I have has a sort of chocolatey brown base similar to this that I think is going to work really lovely together. This is approaching 4 yards. So it's about 3.5-ish yards, or 3 and some change, which I was looking in my Trello at a lot of my coat patterns, and that's about approximately the amount of yardage I would need for some lining. So that works. And the final thing that I got for myself is this mesh fabric. Oh, I keep teasing this idea that I'm going to make one of these mesh dresses with an underdress. And I just have to do it. But let me show you the print on this. I have to back up so you can appreciate it. It's like a landscape. I just fell in love with this fabric so much. I love the colors in it. And it had like a picture of nature on it. How could I resist? It's super wide. I think it must be at least 60 inches wide. So lots to work with here. Again, this would always be layered on top of something, but I'm super excited to give that a go. After running some errands, we had a quick stop at Joann, and I picked up Mimi G's S9740. My best friend and I were looking at it, and she was really intrigued by this design. And I had to admit, I had also been intrigued by this design previously, but never picked it up. But with that sort of go ahead from her, I was like, yeah, at least one of us should give this a try. So I'll report back if I get to try this sooner rather than later. My best friend also picked up some fabric. She does know how to sew and has had access to a sewing machine, so I think she has caught the bug. Ooh, I'm so excited about that. So I am going to pop in a clip now of her takeaways from G Street Fabric from our haul today. Hello there.
Hello.
I have someone who's been, I can't even say converted.
Converted? I'm back.
Back.
I'm interested.
Reverted back.
We're picking back up.
Yes.
We want a real hobby.
Real hobbies.
That's consistent and that I can actually sink my teeth into consistently.
Okay. You want to show us what you got today?
What I got today. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, guest star. I got this, like, I guess, plissé fabric.
Yes.
I have put this, like, two-piece outfit in my cart in every store that I shop at.
There we go.
And they always look really short, and I want, like, a long outfit.
There we go.
Yes.
Plissé for the S9756. Wonderful.
Yes.
Went and got yourself some
new scissors.
Some new shears.
So, you know.
All right. Very wonderful.
Okay.
What
and
else?
Then the one that really got me excited.
Oh, that's the one.
Yes. It's like a little watercolor.
It's so gorgeous.
For like a maxi dress.
Honestly, even with the bodysuit that you have on now.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah.
But yeah, I want a Fatmata dress.
Yes.
So the one that I saw you in the other day.
Yes.
I want to make that.
I'll put the numbers.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, even this with the little knot situation, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's nothing that this fabric can't do.
It can
It's
do a
so
lot.
nice.
It's going to do something.
It's so nice.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Do you know how many yards of that? What did we get? I don't even know.
But there's 2 of them.
2 cuts.
Yeah.
So if there's any left over, who gets the rest of it?
You do.
Yay! Yeah.
I'm really excited.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was a good pick. You did well. It was a good find.
Yeah. And then the other ones, they're like basic, right? Is
Yeah.
that what they're considered? We got a white.
Yes.
Because we're going to make something bridal at some point.
At
And
some
it's good to have, I guess.
Yeah. It has a bit of stretch to it, and I think that's why we picked it up. It feels almost like a crepe, but has an interesting texture to it. Yeah. I don't know, but it has a bit of stretch, so that was good.
And this is like a
really nice
sweater.
I think it feels like almost like a rayon knit. It's really, really great. I think Tishana said that this was a fabric that she had also previously used, something very similar, if not like the same thing. And I love what she made out of it. So it seems substantial. And that would be good for like an underdress to lay this over.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes.
Yes. The more I look at it, the more I love it. Yeah. It's like a painting. Yeah. It's so good. Okay, thanks for joining me today.
Yes, it was a lovely day.
Yeah, it was. It was really fun. Okay. Bye-bye. It's going to be really exciting to have her back on the sewing bandwagon. I cannot wait for it. But yeah, it was very funny. She's like, while I still have this momentum, I'm cutting this out now. So we took her measurements, found her sizes on that simplicity pattern that she's working through. And I'm really excited to see her dig into that with that plissé fabric. That'll be interesting. So this past week, I attempted to work on two very simple makes that I cut out back to back. Not learning from previous things, obviously. But I wanted to make a quick zip up outer layer for my son to wear like in class because it's getting colder. So I whipped out S9391. I was going to try and omit the hoodie, but I felt like the basic shape of this with these pockets in the front were going to be great. Okay. So I went and utilized this navy fleece that I had in my stash already. And I was like, this is going to be easy peasy. Okay. Cut out, it's raglan sleeves. What could go wrong? I cut out the size 4 because that is the largest size in this pack. It goes from size half. I love when there's a size half. I love it. From size half to 4. So I cut out the size 4. I lengthened it by a bit. I think I'll pop in an image. I think I took a photo of how I lengthened it and just felt like I was going to whip it together. In omitting the hood, I was going to try and figure out how to cut out like just a band collar made out of some stretchy material. I was going to add a cuff to the ends here. Easy peasy. So I thought. I was in the process of constructing this, have put in the zipper. When I tell you the layers of fleece that are here, because this pocket is intended to be lined. So many layers. Right next to a zipper. I just didn't think that was a kind design detail. That it was fiddly, it was hard. I don't think my sewing machine liked it so much. And then to make matters worse, right? To add insult to injury, to put salt upon the wound. After I had installed the zipper and put like an unnecessary amount of top stitching to hold the zipper down. I'm talking 2 rows of stitching, top stitching to hold it down, in addition to serging the zipper tape to the actual fleece. Just like unnecessary things that no one asked me for. I then realized that the pockets were not aligned. That I at no point in the installation of said zipper told myself to pause and reflect and check to make sure that the pockets were going to line up. I didn't do that. I just trusted myself. I had so much faith in myself, and the pockets were in the wrong place. So I showed my cousin. I just held it up to her and I was like, what are your thoughts on this jacket? I didn't want to give it away. I wanted to just see if she could see. And after like 2 passes up and down, she was like, oh, the pockets. And that was enough for me. I knew that it was noticeable. It was as noticeable as I felt it was. So I had a decision to make. I was like, I mean, does he just live this school year, this academic year? I mean, just for the cold months with some wonky homemade pockets on this zip-up jacket, right? Does he just wear it open? I mean, he's 5. Does he care? Will anybody else notice this? So I laid it down for a little bit. I just had it rest while I worked on the second one that I had cut out, which was out of this navy corduroy fabric. It's like really, really fine whale there. And I lined it with that navy micro fleece fabric that I had picked up at Joann Fabrics. And I just thought that this was going to be a fantastic idea. This pattern is not called to be lined. And I did include that micro fleece all the way through into the sleeves because, again, this is intended to be something that he wears in class, like wears on his person, not just for outerwear. So I'm thinking when he's wearing his short sleeve uniform shirts, it'll be easy for him to kind of just slide his arm through. He's not going to have long sleeve layers. That was the thought. I decided I was going to omit the top stitch pockets altogether. I was going to be clever, beat the system, and put inseam pockets. So that's exactly what I did. I created the pocket. So you can probably see in the light that top stitching here. Right there. And I used the microfiber fleece on one side and the corduroy on the other that you would see if he put his hand in his pocket. I felt really good with that as I was making it. Went ahead, did the raglan sleeve, added the microfiber fleece as the cuff and as the low neck binding. This is not intended to be a lined jacket. I went ahead and lined it again with the microfiber fleece. Found a way to like bind off the edges. Actually, like, I think that I did a pretty neat job. Now, the issue that I'm having is that there's a lot of like wrinkling throughout and I can't quite figure out what the heck is happening. Like, look right here under the arm. And I'm not talking about wrinkles because it needs to be ironed. It was in his book bag and I just fished it out. So I get that. But also there's like actual design wrinkles, like fit issue wrinkles that are upsetting me because this was meant to be a really quick, easy project. And I think it has something to do with the bulk in this underarm seam. This is done in the way that a number of raglans I have come to see are completed, where they actually wanted you to sew from the sleeve all the way down into the body. And in doing projects in the past, I know that that is my least favorite way of doing things. Most often, my favorite way to insert a sleeve is to actually create the sleeve separately and then sew it from the raglan under the arm and around instead of from the sleeve down into the body. I think it makes for a better range of motion, and I should have went with my gut instinct because I think that would have solved just a bit of the drag lines here. Also, when I was attaching the bottom, like the lining, I don't know what's happening here with the puckering. Maybe the lining fabric is too taut or too loose. I can't tell what's wrong. So from there, after having that whole fiasco with the other version, I did make myself go ahead and unpick the fleece version. I took it off at the zipper, all like 4 rows of stitching, and then I unpicked the pocket itself, and now right now I just have it pinned. There's a mirror image of the other one just to double check. I can't be trusted. I don't know. So I've had it like this for a couple of days, and I am just building up the courage to actually finish this one off, which I think might actually work out pretty well. And because it doesn't have a lining or anything, since it's, you know, the Blizzard fleece from Joann, I think it'll be fine. I'm going to add the same cuff as I did. I think I'm going to do a similar thing with the neckband. Although I did show him this and my son was like, where's the hood? So I may add a hood to it. I don't know. It might make it easier. I'll see. But I do have a bit more of this fleece fabric left. So if I can get a hood out of it, I might make this the hooded version and leave the other one hoodless. We shall see. But those were the two things that honestly I thought were going to be like quick and easy makes for me last week as I procrastinate on doing any of my outerwear pieces. And they weren't. So that was a little bit of a bummer. Then I moved on, and it was the night before Thanksgiving. I had prepped some of the things that I was going to make. So it was Wednesday night. And I was like, oh, I should make my daughter a Thanksgiving dress. So I went and pulled out this fabric that I've had in my stash. It is a Joann Fabrics that I picked up maybe 2 seasons ago. I'm not sure. It's this like dark background. It's meant to be black, I guess, but it comes off more charcoal with this foiled gold floral print on it. Hopefully that's showing up nicely. This is something that I cut out for myself. I cut myself something out, which is the gable top, like a hacked rendition of the gable top, because I was working with just remnant fabrics. But I did cut out a dress for my daughter so that in the event that I had any time after cooking, I would whip this up for her. And that I did on Thanksgiving Day. So this is S8852. I'll see if I can pop up an image of the actual pattern on the screen for you, but it is the dress that I use for everything. For her birthday, it's the dress that I used and adapted to do my Project Dress-A-Girl dresses. It's the dress that I use. And while it is meant for wovens, this is a knit fabric, but I wasn't going to be cutting out any new patterns the night before. Okay, we're just going to go with the tried and true. So it is big on her. It's like, feels like it's 2 sizes too big. Like she can wear this for the next 2 to 3 years, I think. And even though it'll get shorter, she can like wear tights because it's quite long. So I had folded the pattern up by a bit and then just added a ruffle to the bottom here. And yeah, it's kind of fun. I also had this gold bias binding, so I added that to finish off the ends really nicely. And it just, yeah, I made it a long sleeve, so I think I borrowed a sleeve from another knit pattern that I use for them all the time, a vintage one. So I had that traced off too, so I just kind of used that sleeve, put a 1-inch elastic cuff here at the end, and I was just trying to make it work with the fabric that I had. Again, I had like 2 remnant pieces available to me. One was, I think, possibly a yard, and one was way less than that. I then used this black sort of knit lining fabric that I have in my stash to line it, mainly because I knew that she was going to wear this dress with tights, and I wanted it to have a bit of slip, even though I think that this fabric probably wouldn't have like clung to tights that much. But I did that just throughout the length before the ruffle, because I felt like at the ruffle, since there's a lot more space, it probably wouldn't cling as much. And that's how I finished it. It also then means that none of the raw seams are kind of touching her except for the arms, which is pretty nice. So then around the neckline, that's a pretty clean finish. I did top stitch the back neckline and just understitched in the front. But I think I'm going to go back and also top stitch for the front neckline as well, because I did see that the lining fabric was trying to roll over on itself. So I'll do that. But it was cute. I also made her a matching bow, and this came together in 2 hours. So I had finished cooking while everything was cooling down. I came down here at 1 p.m. and then made this, and we were ready for a shower and getting dressed by 3. So that was really nice. I didn't even look at mine. It would have been nice to be matchy-matchy, but that wasn't as important to me. I did cut out the bodice front of the gable and like this much of the gable sleeve because that's all I could get out of the fabric, and then a like wider width panel that I was trying to see if I could do some sort of like fluted sort of sleeve. But what I might do instead is just piece it together and just do a slim long sleeve instead. I do think because of the scale of this print, you might be able to tell where all of the seam lines are in it, but I'll have to see. I'll have to see how that works out, but I didn't have enough left over since it was only a 2-way stretch. It didn't stretch in both directions, and it's a directional print because the flowers go up in an obvious direction. I had to be mindful with how I was cutting it, and that's the only way that I could get it out of that fabric. So I am looking forward to making my gable at some point. I think it is a nice sort of fabric as the festive, like approaching New Year's and stuff. It's pretty nice. So we'll see if I get to that. As ever, I still have my bomber jacket. I still have my long line duster. I still have all of these patterns waiting for me. I think I've been afraid of them. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I was reading the instructions in the McCall's 7476, and when I realized how many seams need to come together at the front, where you have 2 layers for the collar, a facing, and the actual body piece. So you'll have 2 layers for the collar, the actual body of the garment, and there's a facing that goes on under that. 4 layers of this thick fabric here, and I'm beginning to like scare myself. So it's gonna take a little bit. So let me show you what 4 layers of this looks like. It's this. It's 4 layers. That feels thick. You know what I mean? Like right in the front where the lapel is supposed to be. So when I noticed that, I was second guessing myself a lot. So I'm just a little apprehensive about how this sewing project is going to go. And I think that's what stopped me in my tracks. But I hope to build up the courage to like work on some of those and not get distracted by other projects, because I really would love to have that bomber jacket as well that I cut out of the tapestry fabric. All right, well, I think that's all for me. I wanted this to be kind of quick, but just wanted to update and say a huge thank you again to Tishana and Deanne. Thank you both so much for coming out. If I can, I'll link to their Instagrams down below if they're public. And then I will also say, you know, my mind is tinkering. I don't know what 2024 holds, but like this was fantastic to meet people in person. And I want to do more of that. So we're just going to have to figure out ways to do that. This is so amazing. I'm really, really grateful and thankful for everyone who has chosen to be a part of this small little wonderful community here. And I so appreciate each and every single one of you. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead. I am going to go to bed. I'm exhausted. I hope you stay creative, folks. Bye-bye.